Welcome to The Dirt, a podcast about racing bikes off-road. From the Dakar to the dirt track, from the workshop to the winner's podium, you've got the goods, the gossip, and a grip on the throttle. Let's get on the gas.
It's hard to not talk about dirt bikes.
Justin Barcia has lived almost his entire life on two wheels. He started back in elementary school.
I didn't really like team sports, and I was really shy. And they're like, "You want to race motorcycles?" And I was like, "Yeah."
The American motocross rider has won 25 major titles as an amateur, has had a professional career that's now over a decade long, with countless races and dozens of podiums. He's also earned himself a reputation on the racetrack. Who doesn't like you?
Everyone.
That reputation came with a nickname that kind of stuck.
The Bam Bam was more wild child.
After a decade of riding and a few moto moves, he's done a little bit of growing up.
Yeah, just ask the crew. Did I get in trouble again? They'll be like, "No, he's not mature at all." I always get in trouble. I parked in management parking. Sorry, guys.
He's learned a few things about himself and met the person who saved his career.
I probably wouldn't be sitting here today and right now if I didn't meet her.
But after so many hours on the bike, for Justin, one thing has never changed.
I don't know too hard. My family came from nothing, so I just I'll do whatever it takes to be the best, as good as I can be.
We chased him down to see what we could learn, but it wasn't easy.
People don't really get to know the true me. They only see the Bam Bam side of me.
Let's meet Justin.
How's it going?
What's happening?
How are you?
You're in the middle. Justin.
Before we start, I should introduce myself.
Justin.
My name's Josh Sampiero, and I occasionally get paid to chase motorcycles and motorcycle riders. Pretty lucky. However, before I sat down for this interview, I knew next to nothing about motocross or supercross. GASGAS sent me over to learn about these guys and get a kind of unique and personal look into their lives. One of my favorite interview tricks is to surprise the interviewee with a question they weren't expecting. And in the days before our chat, I learned Justin, for all his world-wandering ways, had never been to Hawaii. Seemed like a good place to start talking.
I was talking earlier today, and man, you're a well-traveled guy, been around the world. You're not wanting for money or life's luxuries or time to do things. Why the hell haven't you been to Hawaii, man?
I know. I don't know. Too busy racing. And then, when you're racing, it's like wide open, and then as soon as oh, you have 3 weeks off, you got to test. So, but I have made time. I went to the Bahamas a couple of years ago with my wife, which was nice. And hopefully after outdoors, usually though, after outdoors, my wife's from the UK, so we want to go back to the UK.
Do you spend a lot of time in the UK?
As much as I can, which
Really?
is not a lot. I usually.
Hold on.
No, it's all right. Oh yeah, maybe we'll close it.
That's your bike.
That son of a.
Way to kick off an interview, huh?
Ring, 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 ring. Dirt bikes. I like it. So, I always try to go to the UK as much as possible, but usually it's only Christmas and maybe after the season, after motocross. So, but this year, COVID really kind of crashed all that.
Why do you like the UK?
I love the countryside. My wife's family lives in the countryside in Sheffield, and it's super enjoyable. We plan on buying a house there in a few years when I'm done racing. So, we just love it. Good friends there too.
Don't worry, we're not just going to talk about Justin's vacations. One thing I always try and do as an interview is separate the athlete from the sport and figure out what makes them tick as a person without the thing that's defined their career. We tried to do this with Justin, but since Justin has literally been riding bikes since not long after he could walk, it didn't go so well.
Tell me your life story without motorcycles.
You keep it short. 3 minutes, life story. Remove the motorcycles. What's the story, man?
That's good. When your life revolves around motorcycles, tell it without motorcycles. I like that. Yeah, I grew up in New York. My dad worked at a university, William Patterson University in New Jersey. He just pretty much did it all. He went from like heavy equipment, taking care of the baseball fields, electrician. He did it pretty much all at college. My mom worked at a wedding venue in New York, just like they threw weddings there and stuff, so that was cool. And then me, I went to school up there until like 5th grade, and yeah, we moved to, it's hard to not talk about dirt bikes. Me and my dad moved to Florida, probably when I was like, I want to say 11 or 12, and my mom stayed, my dad was retired at the time, so my mom stayed in New York and, you know, sent us money down there so we could get set up down there and do stuff.
Get done, have fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then eventually my mom moved down there, and yeah.
But sorry, is this personal? Your parents split up? Or
No.
They just.
Yeah, so
You moved down there
So
with
for
your-
my.
You can talk about dirt bikes, man. That was.
Like.
At that point, already in 5th grade, you were like.
Yeah.
dirt bikes
So I got
and-
homeschooled, and yeah, it's south's where you needed to be to kind of make it. At least that's what we thought. So me and my dad went down there, lived in the motorhome for like probably 4 or 5 years, and my mom just kept working and like sending us money and.
Full on lived in a motorhome.
Yeah, I mean
Your
that's
mom
normal.
is working,
Yeah.
sending you guys money to live in a motorhome so you
Yeah.
can race motorcycles?
Yeah, 100%. It's yeah, we didn't, you know, our background, like no money, you know, we had some good family friends that helped us out, like gas cards and things like that to go racing and stuff, so it was definitely tight always. That's why my mom had to stay back, but eventually we were able to sell the house up there and move down, and then eventually, you know, live in motorhome for, you know, quite a while, and then buy a house down there.
You still live in a motorhome, man. I've seen your rig.
I know, I love it.
This is a story we always hear. Nobody makes it to this point, or very few people do, without parents
Helping them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't have did it without my parents. My parents are still very involved in my career today. Yeah, I was just like, my parents one day were like, "Hey, you need to do some type of sport," and I was like, I didn't really like team sports, and like I was really shy. I just didn't like the whole sport vibe and stuff. So they're like named off a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, no, and they're like, "You want to race motorcycles?" Which they probably wish they not said that because it's really expensive. But yeah, and I was like, yeah, let's do it pretty much, and that's where it kind of started. Just started racing local races in New York, and made a really good friend that lived in New York City. We lived like an hour above New York City, so made a friend with a guy in New York City. His name was Pablo. When I was probably like 12 or 13, he bought me a week camp at Millsap's training facility in Cairo, Georgia. And I went there, and the owner, Colleen, and Davey, obviously, but Colleen saw some potential in me, I would say. And she talked to Red Bull, and that's when I pretty much became Red Bull's first amateur athlete. And they paid for me to stay at MTF pretty much forever. Me and my dad never went home. After that week, we just stayed there. And like my mom just kept working, and that's how it all.
So that wasn't on purpose, actually.
No.
You guys went for like a week,
Yeah.
and you moved away for 5 years.
Yeah. Just never went back to New York.
Is this a story you talk about or tell in a lot
No, not really.
Just at the track, you were there to do a job. You've got a routine. You've got business. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. The space up here. Tell me about the things you do. Like, what is your mindset once you get to the track to work?
Yeah, it's changed over the years for sure. No, I wouldn't say I was always focused, but I was definitely a little more free. I wouldn't say I had more fun, but it just didn't take it as serious. And like sometimes taking it too serious isn't good either. So for me, I like to have a good balance of, you know, serious and fun, because it is my job, you know. It's what I do, and like I get paid to do it, so I need to be good at it, you know. But at the same time, I think out of a lot of the top riders, I think I bring more fun to the table than a lot of those guys, and for me that's just my style. But like unfortunately for you this week, it's the week leading up to the race.
It was great, actually.
Yeah, which, you know, it is good probably for some content, but I would say things are a little more uptight the week before the race,
Yeah.
which is Yeah, just, it's like, first instance, like you maybe go into your biggest like job interview in your life. Like this weekend for us is like the biggest race, the biggest series we're going to. So we're there to get shit done. But yeah, I do like to have fun and keep the, you have to have fun with it for sure. And I have a lot of fun riding. And like, since I got on this team and the GASGAS and stuff, I feel like I've taken my riding to another level, which like the sport has been progressing and the riders have been getting better and better and better and the bikes get better and better and better. And like since I got on this new team and bike and stuff, I've been able to progress more and enjoy it more, which is rad.
Is it a case of you can stop worrying about the bike and start worrying about like?
Well, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that because previously, before I was on this team, it was always like trying to fix the bike, but then like you have a team telling you like you need to fix this, like it's you always, and now the bike's really good and I don't have to worry about that. But now I can fix the problems it's not necessarily problems, but like bad habits or things that you've learned that are bad habits and you need to break them. So yeah, I've been able to focus on myself more, which is cool. 29 now, and I've been able to I feel like I've learned more this last year than I have throughout my whole career, which is pretty wild.
You're getting mature, man.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm still, just ask the crew. They'll be like, no, he's not mature at all.
Not mature at all. I constantly said you said fix my bad habits, and someone who wants to fix their own bad habits, that is totally like, for me, that's a sign of maturity. That's someone who realizes, oh, I can work on this. So what's your worst habit?
Worst habit is grabbing a handful of throttle. I've always just been like, use my clutch a lot and like just really hard on the throttle. But, sometimes that's not the best thing. Cause I ride with a lot of heart and like try my hardest. And sometimes you really need to just like be calm and let it happen and, let the motorcycle work underneath you and flow. And I've always just been super aggressive. So I've been trying to clean that up a little. But the good thing about me is I'm super aggressive and you need that in this sport, but you also need the other side of it as well.
This sport strikes me as you gotta like have this mix of confidence and almost arrogance and fear to do it right. Because if you're not confident enough, you're too slow, and if you're
too confident, you can bite you in the butt.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. There's definitely a mix of like you said, super confident, but also you have to be super smart, aware of all your surroundings, and things happen really fast on a motorcycle and around in general. So yeah, it takes a unique person to do this sport at the top.
Does that suit you as a person?
I think so. Yeah.
Has that made you into the person you are now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because it's not, like sometimes I think about like what would I be like if I didn't take this career path.
That's my next question, man.
Yeah. Well, like what would I be like if I didn't take this career path? And I honestly have no idea. Like, for instance, like when you go professionally, you have to start flying. And like as an amateur, just drove around the motorhome, so I had a fear of flying. And
you don't have a fear of flying, dude. I saw you like 3 feet in the air multiple times.
So I think the thing is, motorcycle riders are always in control. So I don't like roller coasters. I don't do heights. Like I don't like it. So airplane, I didn't know what was going on. I was just sitting back there, hit turbulence, whatever, just like this is awful. So what I did was I went and started working on my pilot's license, and I wanted to be a pilot. But if I wouldn't have raced motorcycles, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be a pilot.
Are you a pilot now?
No. Someone's stealing my van. No, it's all right. Did I get in trouble again? I always get in trouble for parking my van out there. I parked in management parking. Sorry, guys.
How is the Bam Bam from the early career different from the Bam Bam now? What is the difference? And I don't even know. I don't know how to give context to that. So you give context.
Well,
early career versus
early
now.
Career, more, the Bam Bam was more wild child. Didn't really think before you do anything, just do it. And I still have my moments. Still have my moments for sure, but like you said, I've matured quite a bit throughout my career, and just a little bit smarter, and not as I don't know, not as, you know, sometimes the switch flips and you just, it just happens. But yeah, no, I think I'm a little bit smarter and not as aggressive, or not necessarily as aggressive, but just, you know, smarter about the things I do and more aware of my surroundings. And before I was just like full send and didn't really care what it, you know, and I still don't really care what people think because it doesn't really matter. But yeah, and luckily that shaped me as the rider I am today. So I wouldn't change anything about it. But
We talked about the progression of the sport, and basically, like all these sports, they're just getting, you know, faster, harder, and more really skilled riders.
Yeah.
Does that make it more dangerous and more injury prone? So is the sport getting more dangerous or more safe?
yeah, so, you know, the riders obviously progress, the motorcycles progress, and the one thing that hasn't progressed in our sport are the tracks. So that's the one thing all of us always, you know, we don't really have any say in, and I'm not even talking about motocross really, I'm talking about more supercross. Like, you know, we're doing the lap times in like some races like under 50 seconds and stuff, and it's just not, you know, and it's so high speed inside, like, so that's one thing like that needs to change, I think, and all riders will agree. Like, we don't, I think we all have our opinions on what could change. Like they did, there was one track this year they did, and it had like a lot of really big rhythm section. There's a ton of options, and it wasn't like they built stuff bigger. It was just like longer lanes and things like that. So yeah, I think as, you know, everything progresses, it does, you know, you become better or faster than what the tracks were built for, and the motorcycles are getting faster and faster and faster. So, you know, the tracks need to adapt to that as well.
Is that something you're maybe reading between the lines? That's something that's like a big concern for you, or is that something that's like a
not really? I mean, not really, because we all of us have to ride the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. But I think all of us, when we get to a race and the lap time's like 45 seconds, we're like, this is going to be freight train, like not able to pass, hard to pass, and, you know, we'll see next year if they do anything or not. But like we did race in some outdoor stadiums this year, and but then again, it's like almost you're racing like a motocross track on supercross suspension, and it's just sketchy. So yeah, it's definitely, but like I said, everyone has to ride the same track, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But like if they just need to, I think they need to think about it and do, you know, do crazy different stuff.
Do you feel a camaraderie with the other guys on the track? Do you have, I hate to use the word beef because it's kind of terrible, but do you, like the nature of the sport tends to somehow, to me, seems to lead to, you know, there's that guy, I don't really like that guy.
Yeah.
Is that something real for you?
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? And what's your take on that now?
Will you name someone that doesn't like you? Who doesn't like you?
Everyone. You know my nickname, so obviously they don't like me. But like, to be honest with you, at least even this year, like I've kind of rebuilt my image and stuff like that. Not necessarily more respectful, but just like, it seems like all of us kind of have been like on a level playing field, as in like we show each other a ton of respect. But at the end of the day, when the helmets go on, we are going out there to try to win and be the best we can. So yeah, I just think like, you know, everyone has respect for each other, but there's certain guys you just want to beat more than another guy. And shouldn't even necessarily say that, because I want to beat everybody. Like, I want to win for sure, but like, there's guys that you just really want to race hard.
Is there a vibe yet, or is that still being built?
Yeah, the vibe's still being built. And the only reason the vibe's still being built is because Pierce and Michael have been training with a different trainer than I train with. And the trainer I train with is myself. So I've been around long enough. I know what I need to do. I don't need someone to look after me, which it is nice to have someone to help you every once in a while. And we do have a guy coming to work with us here soon, which I'm excited about, but he's going to work with all of us. So I think the team dynamics soon will be even more fun than it is now, because I enjoy being around those two. Like, Michael's has his own personality, Pierce has his own personality, and then I'm just like way different than them as well. So it kind of meshes pretty funny. Like, Michael's kind of super respectful and like, and then I'm just out there. Yeah, but and then me, I'm just out there and like, I'm respectful, but I'm also just say stupid stuff. And then Pierce is Pierce. So
Versus
it's like,
peers.
yeah, which is not a bad thing at all. Like we all have our own different stuff, but yeah, I like being around those two, and I've said it before. I enjoy being the only 450 guy on the team. It's like I can do my work and like have the attention I need from the team, and have those two to like those two are no slouches. Like Pierce and Michael are really fast, and so they keep me on my toes during the practice. So I think it's going to keep building and become a really a really good thing and a lot of fun. And I feel like I could teach them things, and they can teach me stuff too still. So it's pretty cool.
Do you see yourself, without getting corny, like as a mentor figure? Are you actively like trying to like help them? Are you sometimes like, guys, kids, get out of here?
I'm not. Yeah, I definitely don't go out of my way to like, oh guys, come under my wing. Like I want to be your Papa Bird. Like it is funny now that I'm the old guy and they're the young kids, because I feel like that was yesterday for me. Like when back in the day, I was on a team, and Kevin Windham, legend of the sport, he was like, the guy I looked up to, and he was the only 450 guy, and there was like 6 250 riders, and we all looked up to him, so that was cool. So like I don't know if those two look up to me or not. Like probably not. I don't know, but I do have a really hard work ethic, and I try to set a good example. Like every time I go on the track, I try to I always give it my all no matter what. So at least if I they can take things away from my riding and stuff like that, I hope they do. Yeah, I enjoy both motocross and supercross. Usually depends on how the years go and which one you like more. But this year's Supercross I enjoyed a lot. It was one of the better years where I felt super comfortable. And going into outdoors, there's a lot of excitement because I'm a good outdoor rider, and I feel really good right now. So I grew up racing outdoors a lot more, but Supercross has a good vibe with racing inside football stadiums and lots of fans. So, but they're both pretty rad.
How many more years you got left? How many more years of Justin on bikes do we have? I heard you the other day, you're already thinking about like beyond bikes, and I hear that in this conversation.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I also saw you on the track, and you're not getting off the bike. So.
No.
What is it?
I feel like right now I'm at the best spot in my career I've been, so I don't really see myself retiring anytime soon. A few years ago, I was almost like over it and done, so I've definitely revamped myself and in a good spot now. But yeah, I'd say another 3-4 years I got left for sure. Yeah, all right, 1 minute story.
Or however long you need.
Lots of injuries. Was on a team that I just didn't fit me, didn't fit them. Yeah, and I was pretty much left that team with bad results, lots of injuries, and didn't have a ride. So I pretty much went to the UK and took some time off, and a buddy of mine called me and he's like, hey, do you want to race the Monster Cup, which is a big race in Vegas, we always do. And I was like, it's in like 2 weeks. I haven't rode in like 2 months. But I was like, yeah, let's do it. And my wife she knew that I wanted to achieve a lot more in my career, so she definitely pushed me to get back into it as well. And yeah, so we went, and we were the best finishing. Actually, I was riding a Japanese bike at the time, so the best finished Japanese bike, which there was a lot of really good racers there, and I think we got 5th or 6th. So yeah, it was cool without doing any riding or anything. So we put this team together in like literally under a month, and it was a lot. It brought back the fun again, and I was super involved in it, and I felt really comfortable, and that's like the best I felt. So I was like, yeah, all that, the last 3-4 years was a wash, and it is what it is, and let's make another charge at this. And yeah, I put my head down and got my mental state right, and got good rides again, and now I'm here. So
cool, man.
Pretty sweet.
What's the difference for you between riding a Japanese bike and?
No comparison. Yeah. Yeah, like nothing against the Japanese manufacturers, because that's what I pretty much grew up on racing my whole career. But for me, like since I made the change to the Austrian motorcycle, the GASGAS, the steel frame, for instance, is amazing. It's very forgiving. The GASGAS is super forgiving on the track. Like if you come short in a jump, and it's not going to kick you off, and the power's really long and smooth, but also has a ton of torque. So yeah, they're hard to compare, but yeah, it's pretty pretty awesome. My wife, like, that literally changed my career a lot, because Amber has her master's in psychology and criminology and all this.
She's smart, man.
She's super smart. So, like, when I met her, I was in the worst part of my career. So that was definitely career changing for me, just because she was able to give me 100% support, and, you know, and she saw potential in me, I suppose you could say, because she didn't really know anything about racing. She didn't know, like, that if I was good or if I was ever good or anything like that. So it was cool for her to see, like, that I, you know, had, you know, potential and wanted to do a lot more in my career. So she got me, you know, I don't know, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today right now if I didn't meet her. So pretty career changing. Actually in Geneva, Switzerland, she was working promotion stuff at a race, and I was there racing.
You just covered that really well, but since it's an interesting topic, tell me any other specific, like, drill down to, like, a specific way she tweaked something in your mental game or approach that helped you in your career. This is really interesting.
Well, I just kept telling her I'm not racing anymore. I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore. Like, the injuries and just, like, everything that happened, I was just not, like, mentally, I was like, it's been too hard, like, and which I've never said that in my life. Like, it's too hard. Like, I don't know too hard. Like, my family came from nothing, so I just I'll do whatever it takes to be as as good as I can be. And so, like, yeah, I was in a worse part. I was definitely had like some depression stuff going on, just like, yeah, worst part of my life and my career. And she just was able to, like, motivate me, and not even motivate me. She was just able to be like, you know, you can do it.
This season, what are you gonna do? You said you're feeling your best ever.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're putting pressure on yourself, high expectations? Or
I always go into it with an open mind, be the best I can be. And I hope the best I can be is win lots of races and be in the championship fight. Going into Supercross, like, when I got hired onto this team, it was kind of like, you know, everyone's seen potential in me. I've won races, whatever. But, you know, pretty much all the way up until halfway through the season, we're battling for the championship. And I don't think, you know, GASGAS being a brand new brand and, like, me on a new team and stuff like that, I don't think anybody really thought that I was going to be in contention like that. So going into outdoors, I think, you know, I like to do the same thing, and I don't want people to be surprised, though, you know. For me this year, I'm, you know, gonna give it my all, like I always do.
Cool.
It's all right.
You're good, guys. All good.
What's up?
We did this interview just before the outdoor season got started. Justin had just come off a successful indoor season, a surprise to many, but not him. At this moment, energy and expectations were high. How is his outdoor season going? In 2 words, not bad. In 3 words, pretty damn good. He kicked off pilot by just barely missing the podium. Took another 4th in the next weekend at Thunder Valley. Top 10 finishes at Redbud and High Point set the stage for his first podium finish at Southwick in 3rd, and the top spot next weekend at Spring Creek. He's just behind Dylan Ferrandis and Ken Roxon in the overall standings. What will the rest of the season bring? Only time on the track will tell. Thanks for joining us for this special video podcast from the Dirt, and keep an eye and ear out for more. Now, go get on the gas.